Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the HOU broadcast. I'm Aaron. I'm your host. Man, it's been a while. It's been a long 3 weeks without a video, about 3 weeks, and I apologize to you. I apologize to everybody that stayed consistent watching every video. And I know it was like, where'd he go? Where'd he disappear to? Especially disappearing after the the Broncos lost to the after the Texans lost to the Broncos after the concussion from CJ, him being off for about 3 weeks. Thankfully, we'll get into the news of CJ in the video whenever I get into it. But I just want to apologize to y'all. If you work refinery, you know what I mean when working 712. So that's why I was gone for the past 3 weeks. So channel update, I'm back. We're gonna make more videos. We're gonna do more videos. Gonna make more videos with DJ AB Cool, especially with the Texans playing the Colts on Sunday. So we're gonna have a Just a Rival podcast coming up this Friday. Shout out to JDW. He's gonna be here making and editing these videos for me and still uploading them to the channel. But still, y'all go subscribe to JDW's channel. He took a pause for a break, but it's still good to show him love and show him that you're there, knowing you're gonna be subscribed to him, be subscribed to me, and that's how we're gonna run because this channel isn't where it is without the JDW Sports Network. So let's get into it. I'm back. We're all back. This is going to be content as much as I can bring you. This is going to be content about Texans as much as I can bring you. So I thank y'all for tuning in this video. So let's get into it. The past 3 weeks since I have not made a video, there's been three games, which was the Jaguars, Titans, Bills. And who started each three games? Each of those three games I went 3-0, Davis Mills, while also led by the defense because defense is the number one defense, turning the ball over, scoring defensively, and just getting the ball back to the offense when it's needed, stopping them. And we'll get into it right now. When recapping the games right now, when it comes to the Jaguars, defensively they held their own. There were times where, of course, they got scored in the first half, again, where they got scored against in the first half. But it was all due to the offense not doing crap all the first half in this Jaguars game. So the main thing was because Davis Mills is still getting adjusted to the first team reps because you feel as if the way he came into the Broncos game, because honestly, we should have won that Broncos game no matter what. But you feel as if Davis Mills never practiced with the first team, which it's like, what do they be doing during practices? Do they not be doing situational awareness in case CJ goes down? Like, do they not say, "Hey, Davis, let's put you on some first team reps in practice, just in case CJ goes down." The same with Graham Mertz. You got to keep these backup quarterbacks ready and adjusted to the first team offense that we have. But yeah, we didn't do crap in the first half. Same with the third quarter. But as soon as the fourth quarter came on, the comeback came on, as you all saw. Um, but it was all thanks to the defense as well. But thankfully, due to Davis and this offensive movement, Nick Haley, I will give him his props, making the plays, coming up with the plays that's needed. But it was all thanks to the adjustments and just the players making the plays from Davis to Woody to Jaden Higgins to Christian Kirk to Nico to Dalton Schultz and this offensive line that did well in the second half. And when you get to the Titans game next, uh, it was just a boring, low scoring game. Titans do have a pretty good defense. Yeah, their offense is pretty shit, um, but our offense is pretty shit as well. So you saw how the reason why it was a low scoring game is because their interior, like say with Jeffrey Simmons, who's an elite defensive tackle. You know, they were putting pressure against our interior offensive line because we still don't know what we're doing offensively on the line with, say, like, oh, if Juice Scruggs is in there, Lakin Tomlinson, two bad guards that we have. Uh, so, they were putting a dominant rush on our passing game and our running game, but we'll get into that game. I'm going to go over the stats of every game. I'm just going over analysis of these games that have happened. But thankfully, the defense held their own in the Titans game, keeping them to 13 points. They were at 6 points, but in the fourth quarter they did let Cam Ward uh, drive, and he did tie up the game, making it 13-13. But thankfully, Nick Haley, he did have another good situational drive, which was the game-winning drive, which Davis Mills led all the way down for the Matthew Wright field goal. Matthew Wright being the backup kicker because Kaimi was injured at the time. So shout out to Matthew Wright for getting the game winning field goal because with these two games, if we would have lost either of these two games, which is the Jaguars game, we should have lost. But thankfully, the Jags jagged. Uh, the playoff chances were going to be more like gone. But we beat the Jaguars divisionally. This is good. We beat the Titans divisionally, which is good. But also keeping our record up, which we became 5-5 heading into this Bills game. And with the Bills game, it was kind of you didn't know what to expect because the Bills are a playoff team. They have struggled defensively this year. Offensively, they have their lapse in how their offense is. Like you saw whenever they played the Dolphins, they just didn't get crap done. So you didn't know what kind of Bills team was coming in. You didn't know what kind of Texans team was coming in, but you knew the defense was coming in the way they've been all season. Well, throughout instead of the first say two games after that, this is the defense that you've been seeing all season, and this is the defense that you're going to see the rest of the season, especially if we get to the playoffs. But offensively, we did do better than expected. Davis Mills looked decent. He still drove the ball when we needed to from the 1 minute drive before halftime and just making adjustments to drive down the field. But there were times, especially only having two third down conversions all game, which is terrible, and that's on Nick Caley as well. So that is a thing that bites us in the ass, knowing that we know we need to do better, especially once CJ comes back, because we can't have only two third down conversions when CJ comes back, especially when playing the Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers, t- a tough schedule coming up. Uh, but once again, we won this game against the Bills thanks to the defense. We've won all the past three games because the defense held their own, turning the ball over when needed and giving it back to the offense, hoping the offense does work with the defense to score for them, which they have. They should have scored more against the Bills. If CJ was in this game against the Bills, we would have honestly, I believe we would have scored by double. We would have won this game by double digits, especially if that kickoff return touchdown didn't happen. We would have been up by way more. Like it's the honest truth. We would have been stopped Josh Allen the rest of the game because they fell on their own feet as a team offensively with the Bills. They stopped using James Cook, even though James Cook was going off on us. They were going pass heavy. Their offensive line couldn't hold Daniel Hunter, Tim Settle, Mario Edwards, Derek Barnett, Will Anderson. They couldn't hold any of them, and you saw that. So, this game should have been a blowout, but we still won the game. We still won all these three games, which is all you could ask for. And, with these upcoming games, you want to win these games, but we'll get into those games whenever the weeks come by. Say like by tomorrow or so, I will get the Texas versus Colts review game out. Getting it ready, and then on Friday, as I said, I will be with DJ Abicool because he is a Colts fan. Same with JDW, they are Colts fans, so we will do just a Just Arrival podcast talking Texans and Colts, especially with this division race getting tighter. And I know people are, especially Texans media, they are saying, "Oh, we wish the Colts beat the Chiefs because wild card spots." But I don't care at this point. I wanted the Chiefs to beat the Colts because now the Colts have three losses. We have five. If we can beat the Colts on Sunday, we're right there in it. Yeah, the Jaguars are right there, and yeah, Jaguars have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the season. Playing the Titans twice, playing the Jets, uh, then they play the Broncos, but the Jaguars are going to Jaguar. You've seen how Trevor Lawrence looked terrible against the Cardinals. He looked terrible. So who'd say that the Titans don't beat them? Because Titans will still play their ass off to try to win a game. And because no team gives up that way just because they have a bad record. They're still going to fight and score. You saw that with the Cardinals. Like, they don't have Kyler Murray, but you still saw Jacoby Brissett doing what he can do all season. But let's get into all three games offensively, scoring wise. Um, with the Jags game, we scored 36 points offensively. Titans game, we scored 16 points. In the Bills game, we scored 23. You wish we scored more in the Titans and Bills game, but it is what it is. Davis Mills overall, 3-0 and 3-0 in this sort. I can't thank Davis Mills enough. Funny story is a couple years back when Davis Mills was our starter, I was making like edit videos editing like certain Texan players and all that, trying to get my hand in doing edits and all that. And I did one on Davis, because of how terrible he was playing, and I had made my Instagram public and all that, and I put his name on there, like I added him on it, and and he viewed the video on my story. So I just want to apologize to Davis because without him, I'm sure we would not have gone 3-0. But thanks to him, we went 3-0 in his 3 game start. Uh, Jaguars game, he went 27 for 45, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The 2 touchdowns came in like when the comeback had started. Um, Touchdown to Jane Higgins, touchdown to Dalton Schultz, 2 great touchdowns, 2 much needed touchdowns. The interception came in the first half when the offense was struggling, when you saw the blowout coming just for us to come back in the fourth quarter in the second half. The Titans game, we went 26 for 41, 274 yards with 1 touchdown. Like I said, it was a slow game. Uh, both offenses weren't doing crap until the second half. You saw how slow each team looked offensively. It was just a defensive game, um, but overall a boring game. But thankfully we won. With this Bills game, he went 16 for 30, 153 yards with 2 touchdowns. 1 touchdown going to Christian Kirk, which was a good situational touchdown, getting the first touchdown of the game. Uh, Won it because the Bills got a touchdown. They missed their extra point. Then they got a field goal. No, they got a touchdown, missed a field goal, missed their extra point. Then we got a field goal, 6-3. Then they got another field goal, turned to 93, and then Davis Mills drove for us to go get a touchdown, well, which was the pass to Christian Kirk. So made it 10-9, and the other touchdown being the good after the whole kickoff return for a touchdown. You thought maybe we just stop it going to halftime down 16-13, but no, Nick Haley had a good 1 minute drive play call going, and Davis Mills drove, and we drove for a touchdown, which was the pass to Jane Higgins for a touchdown, making the game. Was Yeah, it was 20 to 16. Yeah, because we got a field goal before that kickoff return for a touchdown. Heading into the run game. Woody Marks, he went against the Jags. He went 14 attempts for 63 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry with 1 touchdown. Titans game, 18 for 44 yards, averaging 2.4. Then the Bills game, 16 attempts for 74 yards, 4.6 averaging. Once again, as a Titan, we're going to get in the Titans game. That interior was the reason why the run game was bad. So we had to revert back to passing more, but we are using Woody more, which I love, and we are still sticking to the when we're going to run or say play action, we bring in a sixth man for that offensive line, and you hear it whenever they say, "Oh, 57 is eligible." Say like Blake Fisher or say say Juice Scruggs, who knows, but it's mainly the tackle outside the position, which is Blake Fisher, because you see him whenever they're lining up. So I like that we do the 6 man offensive line, getting somebody eligible. But with the Jaguars game and with the Bills game, we were running really good consistently, and it shows because it was 4.5 yards per carry against Jags and 4.6 yards per carry against the Bills. So you see, and Woody fights for his yards. Woody is looking like the number one back. He is the number one back because Nick Chubb is there, but Nick Chubb is not the Nick Chubb of his old self with the Cleveland Browns, of his almost MVP seasons and all that. But he is there. Woody Marks is not by himself, but Woody Marks is the number one running back on this team, and it will keep going that way forward, depending on what happens with Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon is out for the season, as you've seen about 2 weeks ago when they reported, or last week they reported it. So it is what it is. We'll see what we do with the running back position heading into the offseason. But right now, we're in we're in a position where we can't think about the offseason. This is a position where we got to think all playoffs. This is all we got to think about. Nico, as he does against every time he's against a division opponent. Jaguars, he had 7 catches for 136 yards. Titans, he had 9 catches for 92 yards with 1 touchdown. So he always goes off against division rivals, which I hope he does against the Colts, because him and CJ do own the Colts in Lucas Oil Stadium. But so hopefully we see that on Sunday. Against the Bills, he had 3 catches for 55 yards. And the reason he had 3 catches, he was out of the game a couple times because he did take a big hit. So I know he was out for a little bit, but it was good to see consistently that we were giving the ball to other people, because Davis Mills has a good connection with Nico. They both came in the same draft class. They were both in that hellhole of a Texans team with under David Culley, under um, Lovey Smith, and just under the terrible offenses that we had previously. We still have a bad offense, but it's not as bad as it was back then with the receivers that we had, like Danny Amendola. Uh, who else? Who else? Who else? I forgot who else we had. It's already forgotten in my mind. Uh, but yeah, they have a good connection, so it's good to see that they're still together. Him and Davis have a good connection, but it's good to see that will go to the other receivers, knowing that he's got a good connection, chemistry with them finally. Dalton Schultz, Jaguars game, he was seven catches for 53 yards, one touchdown, which was the touchdown for the comeback, which was a good touchdown. He got open, both feet in bounds. It was a beautiful touchdown. Titans game, he had six catches for 51 yards. And in the Bills game, he only had one catch for 8 yards, which was kind of surprising to see that he only had one catch against the Bills because I thought we would utilize him more. But it is what it is. Uh, it's good to see that we don't have to just rely on two people, Nico and Dalton. We relied on others, like we're gonna get into it right now. Kirk, we still didn't know what we had with him, but as he's progressing with his team, he's slowly doing better, I guess. Uh, Jaguars game, he had one catch for 3 yards, which, but he did have that one situational play where they called pass interference against the defense whenever he was trying to catch the ball, which led to the Davis Mills touchdown to win the game. Titans game, he had one catch for 6 yards. So in between two games, he only had 9 yards, which was crazy. Uh, but against the Bills, he had a great game. Five catches for 54 yards and touchdown. Um, he was definitely the reason why we scored before the 1 minute, not well before halftime. He had that great medium crossing route where he got open, drove just running down the field. He juked the safety, went to the about let's say 18-yard line, I believe. But I don't know, but he still drove. He was still a key contributor because who knows, maybe we would have only got a field goal out of that last 1 minute drive if he didn't catch that. Uh, Somebody that's been rising up that I like is Jaden Higgins. He had in the Jags game 5 catches, 42 yards and a touchdown, which is of course the comeback touchdown. He had 4 catches for 55 yards against the Titans. And the Bills game, he had 4 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown, which was the touchdown before the halftime. And the way Jaden Higgins has been playing, he's been playing well. He's been getting open at the right times. He's looking like he's finally getting his feet set. He has some things to work on, yeah, yeah, but he's doing better than he was in the first couple of games when we were like start Jalen Noel over him because he's not looking as the early pick that we thought he'd be, as the breakout rookie star that we thought he'd be. But he's starting out well. He's doing his best, and with the receiving yards he's got in the past 3 games, he's doing well for a rookie. It's just we need to keep utilizing everybody more instead of going after one person, which is Nico, giving Nico the helms to put everybody on his back, which we can't do like the last couple of years, which is relying on Nico only and having these receivers go quiet. So it's especially good knowing that they're doing what they're doing without CJ, so that when CJ comes back, these guys are already set with this game plan, with what we're doing, and with how well they've been playing for CJ to trust in them to throw them the ball, And that's the same with offensive line. Let's get into the offensive line right now. Jags game, they only allowed 2 sacks, but they were early when the offense was struggling. In the second half, they really didn't give up no other sacks. A couple of pressures, yes, but not as terrible as it could have been. Titans game, 4 sacks. I still say it's due to the bad interior. Davis Mills did take a couple of sacks that he should have just thrown the ball away. But as I said, it was bad interior. Jeffrey Simmons coming in like a monster he is. And then you get into the Bills game, 0 sacks. Of course, there was pressures, but Davis Mills was in the pocket, had time a lot. Honestly, he had a lot of time, majority of the game. Yeah, there was a couple times where he didn't make the pass still, but he still had a lot of time. And 0 sacks in a whole game compared to Josh Allen getting sacked 8 times. You know, that's an elite quarterback getting sacked 8 times, and you got the backup for the Texans getting sacked no times with offensive line that we've always seen all season suck, but it is due to the finally seeing the potential starting lineup that will move into the rest of the season, which is Ursery at left tackle, Titus at left guard, Jake Andrews at center, right guard being Ed Ingram, right tackle being Trent Brown, who has shown up well, who has done well right tackle, because the other right tackle we have, which is Blake Fisher, who I thought would have done better because he was starting last year, and I thought he would have done better, but he isn't doing better. But he is, like I said, the eligible offensive lineman that will bring in, say for a run, say for a play action pass, and he is doing well as that sixth man. But for right now, this five man front is doing well for what they did, especially zero sacks against. Yeah, I know the Bills have struggled defensively all season, but they are still a playoff defense. They are still a playoff team that will get to the quarterback when needed. They were missing a couple people here and there, but it is what it is. It's every given game, like us, we were missing CJ, so it doesn't matter if you were missing Ed Oliver or missing somebody else. It is still making the plays happen. Getting to Nick Caley, he still sucks, but there are a little bit of things that he does okay. Say with the comeback against the Jaguars, he was the reason making the play calls. The Titans, he had the game. He made the play calls to make the game winning drive for that field goal, for the Matthew Wright field goal. And the Bills game, there was just a couple good amount of drives, say from the first touchdown and then the touchdown before halftime. The second half was terrible. We only had about 60 yards total in offense. So, and D'Amico said in his press conference today uh, that the offense did not do their job in the second half, which he thought they would have done better, but they didn't. So it is good that D'Amico's calling out the offense, especially when you need the offense to do more when CJ comes back, and especially going up against a divisional opponent in their stadium at the Colts on Sunday, because we cannot give the Colts the ball as many times as we can give them because they are a great offense. They are better. They are the best offense we have played all season. Yeah, the Rams are a great offense, but the Colts are a better offense from running back to wide receivers, not quarterback, because Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Dan Jones. Better offensive line, as I said, better receivers, Michael Pittman, Josh Jones, Pierce. They are all. That's a good talent offense, especially with um, Steichen being the offensive-minded coach he is. So we'll get into the game, say tomorrow in tomorrow's video or anything like that. But this offense needs to get their shit together. They need to practice hard this week. They need to get ready for this important game that we need to win. Because if we don't win this game, then it's going to be tough getting in. It's going to be tough feeling as if you can come back in this division. But we'll see as we go. Defensively, let's get into it. This great defense uh, against the Jags. They allowed 29 points, but it wasn't all on them. There were a couple touchdowns that were against them, a passing touchdown and a running touchdown. But there was a punt return for a touchdown, which was not on defense. That's on special teams. Special teams. I don't know what's wrong with you, Frank Russ. I don't know what's happened with you, but you've been allowing touchdowns on your special teams, and this shit needs to stop. Especially when going up against the Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers, all of these teams. You can't allow these free touchdowns the way you've been allowing because that's pathetic. That the defense didn't even step on the field, and the other team scored. Well, let's get into the defense. Jaguars they allowed 29 points. Titans they only allowed 13 points, and the Bills only allowed 19 points. As I said before, the Bills should not have had 19 points. Honestly, should have been lower, but due to the kickoff return for a touchdown, Uh, Jaguars game, Trevor Lawrence he had 158 passing yards, one touchdown. Uh, then they're rushing; they had 94 rushing yards with one touchdown. So we are a good rushing defense. We'll keep their anybody's leading rusher silent for as much as we can. But that was just a bad game with that many yardage just due to how much the offense was keeping the defense on the field. Titans game, Cam Ward had 194 passing yards with one touchdown. That was mainly he mainly got a lot of the yardage whenever the comeback drive happened to tie the game up. Because as we all know, the defense does let up big plays, and we can't let these big plays be happening again and again. But it seems like we still let these big plays happen, like the Titans, which was the drive for them to tie it against us. The Bills, the 4th and 27. We all know and saw that. It's the same story here and there again that we allow the big plays to happen, and we can't allow this when we play the Colts and Chiefs and all these teams that we need to play and we need to win. We can't allow that. It's the same thing like when we played the Buccaneers. We should have won the game, but Baker ran out of the pocket, got a first down, and that's pretty much what helped them win the game. We can't allow this. Keep the keep a spy open. Aziz has been looking great. Keep Aziz as a spy. Keep this coverage tight. Um, Will Anderson, you saw it against the Bills game. Will Anderson drove inside when he should have stayed outside, which allowed Josh Allen to run out of the pocket and get a first down. So we need to stay consistent with what we're doing when attacking the quarterback, when attacking the running back. Um, but yeah, when you get to the Bills game now, Josh Allen had 253 passing yards. Uh, James Cook had 143 yards rushing and a touchdown. So it's good that we didn't allow Josh Allen to get a passing touchdown. But in the beginning, it looked like the game was going to get ugly the way James Cook was running, the way he scored that first touchdown. You thought it was going to get ugly, but it didn't, thankfully. So you know, when you're going up against Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, you saw the game he had against the Colts, um, and then you go against other teams running backs. But Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, these next 2 weeks, this can be a different battle. Tyler Warren, Travis Kelsey, next 2 games, it's gonna be a tough matchup. Uh, say like these receivers too, Rasheed Rice, you know, just all this talent that's coming in from the Colts too with the receivers that they have, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Pierce. It's gonna be a test on this defense, a bigger test on this defense that isn't the number one defense. But this is why we say we need the offense to score because if the defense stops these teams from getting anywhere close from scoring, our offense needs to complement them by scoring for the defense because the defense stopped this other team from scoring on you to say take the lead, to say tie it, anything like that, to say keeping them from coming back. So you need Nick Caley, CJ Stroud, these receivers, this running back group, this offensive line group, we need to get our shit together and make these points happen. Make score, field goal, touchdown, as many as you can because you know this defense is gonna bust their ass for you. But let's get into it with the defense too. Jaguars game they had 5 sacks for 39 yards. Uh, Titans game they had 3 sacks for 23 yards, and the Bills game they had 8 sacks for 70 yards. So they literally had 16 sacks in 3 games, which is crazy for over let's see, for over about 142, 100, yeah, 142 yards lost on the court. Like that's crazy. Let's get into the players wise. Stingley, he had 1 pick in the Jags game, which is a beautiful interception. The way he honestly snagged it. Daniel, he had a great game, 3.5 sacks, and Will Anderson with 1 sack, with both forcing a fumble. Henry Toto with a point 0.5 sack, and then you get to the Titans game. Will Anderson had a great game, even if he only had 1 sack, which but he also forced a fumble with that sack. Tommy Togiai, he had point 0.5 sack, as well as Daniil having 1.5 sacks in that Titans game. Our interior defensive tackles are looking great. Finally, Sheldon Rankins, Tommy Togiai, even if I'm saying it wrong, Tim Settle, they're looking great as a defensive front. Uh, in this Bills game, Kalen Bullock, the MVP of this game, he had 2 picks, 2 beautiful picks. One tipped up by Aziz, even though Aziz should have had it, but it still got picked off. Should have been a touchdown, but Derek Barnett had that block in the back, which is why this score should have been larger than it should have been. But because, as you saw, Kalen Bullock ran it back for a touchdown, but it was called back. And that's the thing I hate. Kalen intercepted it, ran it back for a touchdown, and got called back. And all the offense could do was score a field goal, which cannot happen when CJ comes back. Uh, Henry Toto, he had 1 sack. Will Anderson had 2.5 sacks, and Daniel had 2 sacks. Tim Settle had 1 sack. Barnett had 1 sack, and Mario Edwards had point 0.5 sack, which is crazy to see all these names have a sack on Josh Allen because they were getting through. Tim Settle got through. Derek Barnett got through. Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter got through, making an elite left tackle, making Dion Dawkins look abysmal, making that offensive line struggle. They had literally had to take out their I believe it was the right tackle that they took out the bench because of how bad he was doing. But overall, how that defense line looked against a tough playoff team, a tough offense in the Bills, they just made them look like a joke. Like the Bills look like they don't even deserve to be in the playoffs at the way they looked like they're not even going to win their division because how terrible they are. They got the New England Patriots only two losses. You know, with the Bills lost to the Texans, they're pretty much out of their division. And Patriot fans were thanking the Texans for the first time ever in our franchise for doing what we did, even though it's such a rocky relationship with Patriots. uh, but overall, like the defense they have allowed only 10 passing touchdowns this season and have had 12 picks. So that's crazy that we have more picks than passing touchdowns allowed. The ranking right now for our defense is first overall in this league. They're third in passing, allowing over 195.7 passing yards per game. They're fifth in rushing, allowing over 92.2 rushing yards per game. And they're second in points allowed, which is 16.5 points per game. I know we'll get back into first. I'm sure we will get back into first. We'll see as we play these tough offenses in the Colts offense with how great they are, with the Chiefs offense with how they're trying to come back to get back in the playoffs because they are in the hunt as well as we are. They're in the hunt trying to get back, especially in their division with the Chargers and with the Broncos. And as you see with the Chargers, they're struggling. So Kansas City might just hop in there and take that wild card spot from the Chargers because it's the way it's looking. Because the Chargers aren't that great. They have a terrible defense, and their offense line is terrible. Justin Herbert is getting hit. Everybody's injured pretty much, and honestly, I just don't see the Chargers holding on to that wild card spot for too long, especially because we play them in a couple weeks, and I feel we will beat them because I don't think the offense line will hold this defense as well as I think that they could. I think even Charger fans think that as well. But right now we got the Colts coming up on Sunday. As I said, we'll talk about that tomorrow or whenever, as soon as I can get another video out. Record right now being 6-5 as for the Texans. Colts losing the Chiefs means that as I said, means the comeback in the division is still there. They are 8-3. The Jaguars are 7-4. Colts got to play the Texans two times. Colts got to play the Jaguars two times. So we're going to see what happens in the division because say the Jaguars beat them, Jaguars go 8-4, they go 8-4. Say if we beat them Sunday, we'll be 7-5, they'll be 8-4. We're right there on the doorstep. It's just hoping the Jaguars jag that the way they do, like the way they did against us. They should have lost against the Cardinals, but they just got it done once they hit overtime because I thought the Cardinals could have won that game, which they had the lead, but Cardinals just blew it at the end. But it is what it is. We move on. We don't play the Jaguars no more. Uh, we split our games, even though we should have won the first game. It sucks that we didn't win that first game because that would have been helpful right now. But I still feel as if the Jaguars are gonna just do something stupid, losing to the Titans. Who knows this week because they play in Tennessee and they sometimes suck when playing in Tennessee. So because you saw what was it CJ's rookie year when we played the Colts for the division the Saturday night. The next day we were seeing if the Jaguars were going to win the division. They lost to the Titans and got eliminated out of the playoffs because they literally had the division title in their hands, then lost to the Titans. And who comes out as the division winners? Us, because we beat the Colts. They lost to the Titans, and we were right there, took it, and that's the way I feel is going to go at the end of the season. Once we face the Colts, and I believe we will beat the Colts. I don't know if we're going to sweep them. We swept them last year, but we will see what happens this year. It is two complete different teams. Our offense line is better compared to last year, but our play calls are worse than last year. Our defense was good last year. They're even better this year. The Colts' offense was decent last year. They're way better this year. So their offense. I mean, their offense was better. It was good last year. Their offense is way better this year. Their defense, their defensive coach, Lou Anarumo, I believe his name is. He was with the Cincinnati Bengals, and CJ did tear up that Cincinnati Bengals defense when we played him his rookie year. Was it his rookie year or was it last year? It was his rookie year. Yeah, it was his rookie year, and we'll see what happens in that because that is a defensive minded coach that he's beaten before, and he took control of when facing the Bengals defense that Lou Anarumo had. Yes, he has better talent with the Colts, but it is still the same play style that he sticks with when moving on. He doesn't. The defense coach won't. Defense coordinator won't change their scheme when moving to a different team. They're going to keep the scheme that they kept when they were with the other team. So we're going to see what adjustments are made from our offense. We're going to see what adjustments the Colts make defensively when we talk to DJ on Friday. From a Colts fan perspective. But overall, that's all I got for you guys. It was going over these past 3 weeks with Davis Mills, the starter, with the defense. Pretty much the reason why we won these 3 games. Literally, it is. But hats off to Davis Mills for being 3-0. We didn't think that it would have been possible, but he made it possible. Uh, Shout out to Nick Haley. He did make the right play calls here and there. But shout out to D'Amico for being the great head coach he is, keeping this team stagnant, keeping this team confident with winning these games. Every game they stepped on the field, they played their ass off for D'Amico every side of the ball, except for special teams. I don't know what the hell's going wrong with them. But overall, guys, that's all I got for you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm back. We're gonna make more content. I'm gonna make more content for everybody to watch. Even if I have a low amount of subscribers, I want to keep this growing and growing for those viewers, for these subscribers that have subscribed for the for since I started, and that's the way we're gonna keep going. And I can't thank you enough. We're gonna keep moving forward. That's all I got for you guys. So let's go Texans.